everyone. So today I'm going to show you how to change a sink faucet. Here we have a leaking faucet and we're on a well, so our pump goes off during the night if this is turned off by the guys. And what I usually do is you can turn it off and then turn it slightly sideways. There are valves and gaskets in here that you can replace. However, I haven't had much luck with the Peerless brand. We have ordered parts, waited a week or two, and they didn't fit right, or there was other parts inside, or else the cartridge that is inside is very expensive. So the route we went this time, I actually had been looking around. I found this faucet. It's by Moen at Home Depot. It's, you know, really nice, simple design with a little bit of the curved architecture in it. Instead of plastic nuts here for the threads, there is just one of these to keep it from going up through the countertop, like that, then the spacer, and then the nut on the end. It's got a chrome sprayer handle, and what I'm going to do is show you how to switch this out. So let's look underneath the sink. Now, obviously in this situation, we need some more light. So I've got a little LED lantern down here. But here you have your cold water and hot water shut-off valves. The first thing you're going to want to do is shut those off. Now, after shutting those off, come up on top and drain any excess water. This is a mixed valve, so you can go straight up and empty that out. Now for me, I've got a garbage disposal plug in here, so if that's in your way, you can disconnect that and just tuck it out of the way in the meantime. Now here we have just a nut. It's a 1/2-inch nut leading up to copper pipe. And what they've done, this is about a 1980s hookup here. They actually did the soldering here with a torch with some more copper coming up right out of the faucet instead of just the screw-on type. What we're going to do, because we have threaded leads coming off of our faucet, we bought these stainless steel faucet connectors. These are about $2 more than the PVC plastic connectors, and these are a 16-inch for us because we've got some distance to make up there with the copper tubing. You want to add 4 inches of length so that it's not tight and that you've got some room without it having tension. This is a 3/8-inch inlet and a 1/2-inch outlet. This right here is the 3/8. And these are really, it's a good idea to put these on beforehand. Then you're not up underneath the sink longer than you need to be. You don't need any pipe dope on this at all. This is called a compression connector, and what you've got there is a rubber gasket that tightens. So all you have to do, and it doesn't matter which one you do first, I find that in this case getting the shorter one on helps. And I apologize, my tripod has been relocated and I've been without it wanting to do this job. Now I'm just going to get these on hand tighten, and then I'll get myself into a position that I can tighten them up. And this is a brass fitting here with the stainless steel fitting, so you can do more than hand tighten it. You want to use your wrench and get it nice and tight. Okay. This particular faucet, and most have it built in, there's a spacer gasket here, and this helps keep water from going up underneath this and getting it all yucky. Usually, like you see on these old ones, there's a little bit of the black gasket sticking out. It's a good opportunity when you have this off. Your going from a square edge to a curved edge, give this a good scrubbing with, you know, Barkeeper's Friend or SOS, just whatever you find is most helpful. So we're gonna get this all ready for installation. And a trick, and this is a good two-person job, you want to make sure that it's straight. And when you're underneath tightening this, that's hard to do. So, and this also, this, if you were wondering, right here is the hookup for your sprayer hose. Now we can't hook that up until we are mounted onto the sink, because this tubing has to go down through the hole, and you don't need to cut that to get it off. I'll show you. There's a nut up at the top, right in the center of those two copper pipes, and that's probably another 1/2 inch hookup on this one. And you can see I've got some, we have well water here that has been streaming out of that at the hookup. So it's a good thing that we're getting this taken care of, because I noticed there was a little puddle of water down here. Obviously my sink doesn't usually look like this underneath, but I don't want to get very gross, so good opportunity again to clean out underneath your sink. And if you need, install some little storage shelving here. So that's probably going to be my next project. So moving along, we have to loosen this nut here. Now I can see just from turning it off, I've got a little bit of a drip here, so you want to keep a towel handy just to keep your area dry. I'm going to have to put you down and unloosen this nut here, this one over here, and the one up at the top. Okay, now we have to take the faucet off. We've disconnected our hookups that are hot and water. The nuts there. There's 2 plastic nuts holding this faucet on from underneath. And I've got some pretty long arms, so this helps, but I'm just laying on my back in the faucet under the sink cabinet. And you just want to turn these counterclockwise. And I've got about 1.5 inches of thread, and then those will come right out. It's a good time to take a look under here to see if you have anything else leaking. We have a secondary drinking water faucet, and then there's a like an overflow design hookup to the sink from our dishwasher. So I'm going to inspect that and make sure that's all okay also. Alright, now this is really high up, so I'm going to see for disconnecting the hose if I can do that from above. So we're going to move on to that. Okay everybody, I have got the faucet out, the old one, and the hose connector. I was able to disconnect this nut from the top. This copper tubing is a flexible type, so I was able to move it out of the way. So the first thing I'm going to do, and I guess you could do it before or after, but I'm going to be under there, is I'm going to put my sprayer in place. Sometimes they come with a new piece here. Like I said, I actually found this sprayer at Home Depot, and it was, I think, $119. I turned to my favorite shopping on Craigslist, and I found it for $30 or $35. So I checked into it, and the model had only been made for about 6 months, so I knew it hadn't been used for very long. And if there was a problem with it, it was actually still under warranty. After talking to the woman, she had bought a model home that the contractor had put this in as just his builder stock. So here I have a 3-hole sink, and all of my supplies are right out of the center. So you've got to get those all through here. And that is why a lot of times these are offset, the hot and the cold. So I'm going to probably need 2 hands here. Get that in, and get your other there. So You want your gasket in place just right. And since I'm doing this by myself, we have a raised area here you can see, and that's going to help me see that it's level. So, you know, just like looking down on it, I just bumped it. This is actually, you want it in the center. See, there's some play here because of the hole. If you get it wrong, you can always loosen up the nuts and tighten them back up. Okay. This is the tag also I wanted to show you. This is the Watts brand faucet connector. And what I was going to say is these stainless steel ones are stronger and less likely to burst. They actually have one that has an automatic shut-off on the end also, for another few more dollars. Okay, so now back underneath the sink. Here we have the hookups, and remember it was the flat piece first, then the spacer, then the nut. And I'm using vice grips. Those are some pretty small nuts that you could use pliers, but it's just easier to have a pair of vice grips so that you're not having to adjust your width of your nut constantly. And I try to keep everything within reach here. So we're just going to go back up underneath the sink. I'm not going to hook up these hoses until these are locked in place here. So you can see underneath, here's our posts. We're going to thread those on. So again, I'm going to put you down. Okay, so we're all hooked up, the nuts up at the top, and now we're hooking up our hot and cold water supply to the faucet. Now, like I said, they suggest that you get these about 4 inches longer so that you have room. So you want to move it out of the way the best you can possible so that you can attach it to the top. You see here, now we just have to tighten that nut, and these have the compression fittings on the end also, so remember that you can use a wrench or your vice grips to tighten it. Okay, that's about as much as I can get my hand. So we're hooked up here. This also, this white piece on both sides, there's a clip, so I was able to kind of bend that to where I needed to. The end of the hose fit up into it, and then you push it over to clip it, and it locks this in place instead of having the nut on the new style. So I'll just tighten this up here, and then we'll be able to turn our hot and cold valves back on. Okay, now that you've got these all hooked up, turn on your hot and cold. And remember those drips that we had in the beginning? Your valves here can be bad, so you want to double check for that. So I'm just sitting here checking to make sure that we're not having any dripping. That would be from where this nut is here, generally not from here. I think the water we were dripping was coming from here, from where the water supply went out. So just to show you our finished faucet, of course with the old junker in here. Save this because sometimes you can repair it or just, you know, kind of repurpose it. Or if you want to cut the copper tubing off, this is worth a lot. Okay, now this will probably go when we turn it on from it being off. So there you go. There's our running water, our new sprayer. And I'd say that's quite an improvement over the old faucet. Now I just got to figure out what I want to do with this, because we have talked about getting reverse osmosis, and you can have a tank right underneath your sink hooked up for that. So there's the new faucet. I think it's pretty good for the price, and no drips, no leaks, done by a girl. So thanks for watching, everybody. Subscribe, ask questions. I'll help you the best I can. And if I don't have the answer, I'll ask somebody who does and get right back to you. Thanks.